conference will now be recorded.
If you go dig a little.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so this is 4:04, you're calling the meeting to order.
Yep.
Thank you.
So I was thinking about, this is like our first meeting, we're acting as the capital planning committee for all the time going forward. We did everything behind us and now we're moving forward. This is like step 2 in the process, or I don't know, whatever step it is, but this is different than all the other meetings we've had where we were like trying to catch up with the information, where we put information back out. And now we're saying, well, it's time for us to kind of take it on and move in that direction. I had a quick conversation with Steve earlier about where we need to go, and it was very consistent with what we talked about, which is that we need to look at not only what is this year, but what the long term looks like and start planning that. And it's time for us to put if it's not going to be an extension of the existing spreadsheet, then we need to create our own as the capital planning committee. And I know we've talked about that. So I think we're in a good place. We do need a couple new members. Steve did say they're advertising for new members. Wherever I go, I ask somebody, say, if you want to be on this. I'm hoping I get somebody. So I won't say who it is or where he's from, but it would be a really good addition if we can have this guy. He does finances in another town, and that would be a good person to have.
Yeah, the other thing I'm trying to do in that regard is, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but I would like to bring a question to town meeting addressing the limitation of having finance committee members serve on more than one committee.
Yeah.
Because I think, 2 of your former members might be willing to come back.
That's an internal restriction that we've placed upon ourselves. It's not a state mandate or any kind of standard. So it's something that we would have control over.
Yeah, it's not by law, so. And I think if we saw that there was some sort of a conflict of interest, then we would just make that decision locally. I don't think it needs to be in our bylaw. But I can't imagine, the finance committee is an advisory group, so I don't know how there could be a conflict between being on the capital improvement planning committee and the finance committee.
Well, we set the priorities, but we don't finance them, and you guys make, or the board makes the final call.
We have no
We just make
fiduciary responsibility that way.
recommendations. So,
We don't have any authority other than recommendation, period. So it's not like we can.
but is there any perception that we could benefit from any
Well,
decisions?
let
that we
me
make?
share it this way. When I was on school committee, my wife worked in the school system. Every year I would declare exactly what the relationship was to the town clerk. We'd say, yeah, you can't be on the negotiating committee for teachers' salaries, in terms of that group. Other than that, you're not committing any other faux pas. That's the one spot. And I think in this particular case, if we're making recommendations, if they have some knowledge of what's going on at the finance committee level, I don't think that hurts the capital planning committee at all.
Can town employees?
What was the question?
Could town employees be on committees?
Yes.
Like, let's say a teacher wanted to be on this committee, where it's not, I mean, obviously, if Linda would do.
I do think there's a perception issue, though.
That's where, yes.
Right. And if the perception is out there, it could put the issue of integrity of this board in a compromised position. So it's really whether or not you're willing to take that risk. I would err on the conservative side with that.
When you say that risk and that perception, are you referring to any finance committee member, regardless of their involvement, being on here? Or are you talking about specific individuals that might be like a teacher versus this, or a DPW employee versus this?
I think it would be a case, for me, it's a case by case.
Yeah, I think it's
Okay.
more of
It could-
the.
It has to be case by case.
And the reason I ask that is because if it is a case-by-case basis, then preemptively saying, here's a situation, here's the conflict that might be perceived, here's the way we're going to approach this, much like you're announcing it at the beginning of the committee, or much like on the planning board, where we just say, here's the situation. I can be fair and equitable in my decision-making, but I want everybody to know that this is my best friend who, raised me as a father, well, as a, whatever. So open and clarity, communication is critical in that exact
I think so.
situation.
I think the other piece just to consider as a committee is that your charge, there's high stakes to your charge of who benefits, and when, how, what the pecking order is, and, the classic one that's not a surprise to anyone is, that the schools benefit that, or, the town benefits that. Well, what about, and each one asks, well, what about the other? So I'm not saying, look, it's not against the law, but this is a high stakes group. And people are gonna listen very closely to what your recommendations are. Certainly on the select board, we're gonna listen very closely and trust that you're doing due diligence in terms of how you got to that decision.
So maybe the best idea, so we don't step in anything, is to hopefully populate this board without considering that, but give that time to be thought about in other places. I don't want to use that as the lever to attract new people. We can get past that and in the future. So we should be able to find 2 more people with or without finance committee.
Yeah, I'm just thinking we rushed last January.
Yeah.
Right, to get things done. And then we're gonna not have a couple of members for a few months, at least.
Yeah.
I
By
hope
the
you're not
time they,
hearing, I'm just putting it out there.
yeah, so I don't think I'd discourage anybody, and we let the select board and the town manager make the call.
By the same token, changing the bylaw and allowing it to happen is different from making it happen.
Yeah.
So it would be
That's
good to
not
go
gonna-
ahead. It would be go ahead and make the option available.
There are 2 different things. One is the bylaw that governs the finance committee. The other is an internal policy
Right.
which governs your committee. Your committee wasn't formed under a bylaw. Just
Correct.
Right.
committee charge.
Yeah, right.
And I don't remember what the restrictions in the committee charge, but we don't have to go into that today.
Yeah, I don't think there
Let's
were
get some applications
significant,
and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would be in favor of you go ahead and change the bylaw to allow the option.
Yeah, I think,
You know,
in general, finance committee members are prohibited from any committee, not just this one.
right.
And I don't think that that's proper. I mean, what if they want to be on a boat heading?
I agree.
Overcoming adversity.
Yeah.
So this is something the town needs to revisit in general. Yeah.
They shouldn't be restricted. The finance committee is in an advisory capacity. So
Right.
there's not really where would a conflict come from?
Right.
And Steve, to your point, we know that there are people that might do more, and that this restriction is the only thing holding them back, and that seems to be it too.
Fair enough.
So that's the membership update. We'll get you some people.
Okay,
We'll find a couple, bring them in off the street, we'll be good to go.
Exactly. I almost had Robert Rossi talk into it.
I almost had this other guy talk to him. We'll see if he shows up or not. That's when he comes, calls me back. We'll see.
can I take 2 seconds to talk about, is the town working at all on trying to make it easier for committees? Like I've been talking about using Google Drive and sharing information, just the way we do everything computerized now, it's almost impossible for us to share and do stuff. And we don't have to get into the sticky wicket, but
Yeah, we should talk more about your.
I share.
are they
your
looking
opinion.
into all that? Because there's some things, like they just,
I'm not sure I understand exactly where you're headed with your question.
like we theoretically can't have a Google Drive and can't share a document so we can work on it.
Oh,
That's right.
There's,
So it's gotta be emailed separately, more than likely either just from the chairman down, but then the revisions have to go back to the chairman to then distribute to
they
the
still do
people.
it.
So part of that though, isn't that the open meeting
Yes.
law
Yeah.
restrictions
Right.
in terms of circular meetings?
We have been starting, we just created a drive for select board. I meant to ask you the other night,
Yeah,
but regardless, yes, we started doing that. The problem is, we can't allow
Deliberation.
editable documents.
Right.
Because if you edit a document and then put it back into the drive, it's considered deliberation, and
Right.
it becomes an open meeting law violation. So all you can do is retrieve documents.
Right.
You still have to wait for an open meeting to,
Even a portal to retrieve documents would be helpful.
but yes, so we do have
Just
that.
someplace, because I don't
So-
know, I don't know if this question was spurred by, I couldn't see your Google Drive because you didn't give us access.
Right.
So,
Oh.
yeah, that's a private one anyways. So the bottom line is the select board's, we're testing the waters, and if it
Yeah.
works out, then I'll send an email out to committees and say, if you want one, let us know, we'll set one up for you.
Yeah.
But anything that goes in, it has to be non-editable. That's the only caveat, so it's read only.
So
That's
how
all.
does, for example, the finance committee put its report together then? If they can't have different members of the finance committee writing different things into the document at different times?
Well, Jill does all the financial pages, all
Okay.
those charts. Lori just does that first.
Blurb that,
Yeah. So the
okay.
chair does that.
So how many other, whatever boards or committees would need to write a joint document as part of what they're doing, where 2 or 3 members would be involved in writing it as opposed to, you know?
I think a lot of them do.
That's what I'm
Even if you're
wondering.
Just writing a little bylaw or something. Either we sit here like we
Yeah.
did with Brian last year for, a couple hours trying to make a spreadsheet,
Yeah,
which was pretty cumbersome.
yeah,
Or we get a better way, but anyway, so we should,
push on.
push.
Well, it sounds like the other places in town are thinking about the same thing of how it's dealt with, as well as the state, because it's new territory for everybody.
Well, it's also easier for them to record going to the town too. Because that's always, I put things out on other committees and
Exactly.
did it get to the right place to be kept? Anyway. All
So I think the next item is where we kind of started from, where we are with the 26 budget, if I got that
Did
right.
you want to approve the minutes, Mr. Chairman?
We could. I knew we had to guess, so when, do we have minutes to be approved?
We do.
We do. We all looked at them, studied them carefully.
August 27,
If
25.
all meeting the 2 other members here, I
Yes.
can speak for
Yes.
myself and say yes.
Yes, we did. Do we have any changes? Anybody would like to make any changes or deletions, et cetera?
I have none. I would make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
I'll second.
All right. Hearing no changes, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that was,
This is for August 27, 2025.
so. We have reached the point, I've looked at the older spreadsheets that we got through your office, et cetera. And I think it really just comes down to how much we want to create as the capital planning committee different than what has already been done. And I'm thinking that we're going to have to develop our own spreadsheet because yours was designed purposely for the objects you were getting through to it, but we are going to be accepting requests from throughout the town. So it's going to be, we're going to have different sections, and we're going to have to figure out how to manage all those things together. And I also think that it's important that the capital planning committee have its own doc and not be the just regurgitating whatever came before. So that's part of the reason that your question is a good one, because if we're working on that, does that then fall to only one member who gets to plug everything in? You know, how do we pull together a document like that? Can we have separate people working on the document, and can we combine it at a meeting, or do you take one section, I'll take another section, that kind of thing? I'm just throwing these questions out there.
Just to be clear, you're talking about the 5-year plan,
Yeah,
not the 1-year budget.
there are going to be 2 things that we're working on. One is the 5-year plan, and the other one is what we're going to be recommending for this year's town budget, right?
Right. But when you're referring to starting from scratch and developing our own, you're referring to the 5-year plan.
Well, it's both.
It's
I think
both.
they're both.
It's
I think
both.
the first 1 year is just one tab of that spreadsheet.
Right.
I mean, it's a subset of the information. It's the information we choose to put on the first year.
Right.
It's just year 1 of the 5-year plan. It's really,
And the reason, in my mind, it's 2 different things. It's that the 1-year plan has got details and specifics and some good some good engineering behind it. The 5-year plan, the 1-year budget has all of that. The 5-year plan is we expect this vehicle in 3 years to be done. to be broken. We expect that in 4 years, we're gonna need to be doing this. But we're not gonna put a lot of engineering in it today. So these numbers are rough, but I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on them. I'm thinking the 5-year plan, especially a couple of years out, really is kind of just,
We're thinking the same thing.
was just,
The ones that we put on the 1-year plan are gonna be more developed and have a higher critical need. So
Yes.
they're naturally gonna rise to the top of the spreadsheet that we're gonna end up putting there.
Right.
And each year, remember how we said the department heads can resubmit
Right.
past ones each year? That's why we're also saying we wanted that enumeration, we wanted a code
Right.
right,
on the request so
Right.
that we don't get the same request next year that they
Right.
put in last year.
Right.
But if they elect to revise it because they've done a study that, now they know it's,
Well, and
$127,050 instead of just, it might be $100,000, and we put it 3 years out, in 2 years, they may submit better information. And so we'll just revise those numbers.
okay.
plus you nailed it in the first comment too, which is that it's like a book, it's gonna be a book. It's gonna be page 1 like is year 1, page 2 could be year 2. But it's gonna be something like that where we have it set up so that you can go through it and figure out where the priorities are and what's going on. Year 1 is obviously, or whatever you wanna call it, this year, probably better to say this year than year 1, is the priority stuff, but everything that's after that has to be categorized in year 2, 3, 4, or 5. It has to be put somewhere in the method, in the whole structure, so that we know where it is, and we know theoretically, you get through 1 year and things slide up to slide towards the beginning based on priority and what we've got money for, so.
Right.
Which will be a mystery over the next year or two as we all recover from all the challenges that the town's had financially this year, but.
So then I think I asked this question, but I wasn't sure of the answer.
Okay.
Is there any town staff assistance available to this committee for what I would call, I don't want to call them administrative tasks because it's a little bit stronger than just administrative tasks, but let's say building an Excel spreadsheet and taking data. If they've got 30 forms that are electronic, and then they've got 3 or 4 forms that are filled out by hand, just putting them all in consistent information, or is it going to be the committee's responsibility to continue
That's a
to do
steep
that?
question.
That is-
So let me back you up just a step though. What happened to the Excel sheets that Brian put together?
We still have,
We still have those.
So are you talking about redoing all of those? Or
we're going to revise them, but on an ongoing basis.
This feels more like, again, the shared drive, like it doesn't it?
Well, I guess that,
You have one place you can.
There's just there's a lot of data, okay, so managing that data.
let's jump ahead then. Let's talk
Yeah.
about the form.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I sent the form out today to revise the
Yes.
request
Yeah.
form.
Yeah.
I had talked to Eric
Yeah.
about how we were gonna manage this. And what we discussed is having the department head submit any new items and any items that were already in the 5-year plan that were not funded, that they want considered for FY 27 this year. Or this upcoming year, what you're talking about now on the new form. They'll have to indicate that something was already in the list so you can take it off and move it over.
Right. Or revise it, whatever, however they want to.
Well, if it was in year 2 and they wanted to consider this year, then they need to be able to move it over. So that's, and I told them they had until October 6th. Monday,
Right.
October 6th.
And you're saying that either submit it as a new request or a revised
A
request.
revised request, so they have to clearly mark it.
Yeah.
So so somebody needs to create a new page that says year 1, but I was assuming you were using the same format that Brian started.
We are.
We are.
We're probably gonna reformat some of it,
Right.
because you could do you can do a lot of stuff with Excel if somebody's working at it, where you can have it automatically summarize, automatically sort. You can kind of take a lot of that out of it, and I was expecting us to get a little more than just this year's. Are we asking them to give us
Well, the out years.
5 years?
Well, if they have anything they want put out, I guess yes.
So
So
are we gonna
what
want to
is-
start predicting that, this vehicle's gonna be done in 2 years, so in 3 years, and whatever, in 3 years?
I just had a brainstorm with regards to this. Maybe it'll help, maybe it won't. I think the biggest challenge is creating the initial structure. getting past the initial structure of this year, like in the second year, there won't be near the amount of work that has to go in because we'll be adding to a document that's already working. So it's really just creating the document either as an offshoot of what you've done or offshoot of what Brian did, but something to give us a living document that we can start working with year to year. And I mean, I'm comfortable enough with Excel. It's a question of time. It's not a question of.
Yeah, I guess what I'm wondering though is how do we address years 2, 3, 4, and 5? Do we have the department heads come in and have items on here and work with you to?
Yeah.
Figure out when they want those in, or do you want to send them a copy of the Excel sheet and say, tell us?
Oh, no, I see that we're gonna have, kind of like the way the finance committee does it, there's gonna be a series of conversation with each one to see where we're at and what they think the priorities are, or if it's through you, it's through you, but that's the same
I
idea.
think some of it is encouraging them to look longer down the
Right.
pike so you can do more planning. That's the planning
Right.
part of the
Well,
capital.
yeah, why don't you send me the full plan, and I'll send it to the department heads and say, resubmit, just mark it up, so we know what's gonna be.
We got a chicken and egg proposition.
Didn't we put what year they would like it?
Yes.
We did put it.
Oh, you weren't able to, I'm sorry.
I wasn't able to.
I'm sorry you weren't able to.
We had-
I apologize.
That only lasts for the first year, and then you have to revise that every year.
Right,
Yes.
You don't fund everything.
Yeah.
If you
right.
don't fund all of year one, that means some of the last year's year one now becomes this year's year one.
Right, that's,
Pushes stuff from
right,
last year's year 2 into last year's year 3.
right.
So every year, the department heads are gonna have to recategorize.
That's right.
plan.
Yes.
So the form will, because the form's revised and asks for different information in different ways, I told the department heads to submit one for not only new, but anything being moved up from the out years.
But your instructions for the October 6th deadline
For that.
is to cover things that they want, they would need in FY '27.
Correct,
And that's perfect. That's
Right.
perfect for the budgeting.
right, and I think the
And
second
then the second step is then developing a needs list.
look at the last list that we have and reorganize it into the next 3, 4 years.
Exactly.
Right,
And they don't have to fill out a form for that.
No, because they're not.
Okay, then we're on the same page.
yeah,
And are you suggesting they use our form or
Right.
subset of our form so the data and the layout all looks the same?
Exactly.
Oh, I told them to use your form.
yeah, they're gonna use our form, which,
No, not just that form, but our master spreadsheet. That-
Well, here's-
Yes.
Each department, I think, should have like
All right,
their own
so-
tab of what their projects are, and then
Brian
when we
set it up.
rank them, okay, yeah.
So if you can get that to me, and I don't know if we want to do this after October, probably after October.
Yes, it would make sense, for them to focus
Right.
on FY '27 and us to focus on '27.
right,
And then let them,
And then we can work on the plan, the 5 years, the 2 through 5 plan later,
because they're gonna have to re-rank them, they're gonna have to look at inflation on some of the projects.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's almost
In
as
your
if you-
report, you said there's $18 million worth
Right.
of capital, but this year
Right.
we're only recommending this much. So every year that's gonna change. So this is an ongoing thing, but yes, I
Right.
will make sure they use your Excel sheets.
Good.
So that it's just a plug and chug, you don't have to.
So here's an idea that,
and
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, even if we do end up massaging that spreadsheet, we can do that after the data's in there.
Right.
Adding, deleting,
I
column, that won't
I
be
have
an
a-
issue.
But I can have some help in the office work. Abby's pretty good with Excel sheets.
excellent.
Because I'm just assuming some of the departments, like we might get 1 or 2 from the police department or from other departments, that they're not gonna do a whole spreadsheet for it. I mean, DPW.
I also have an
school
alternate
department,
Proposal, which is, or an idea, it's not a proposal. The idea is, we do 2 things. We've got the spreadsheet, which is all of the information. But I think we'd be really smart to have a running list by department of just, each one has a name. We know what it is, the list for each department. It doesn't have to have all the characteristics and numbers in it, just a list so we can track what's going on in an easier, quicker way is what I'm thinking. I don't know what you guys, so that we have the spreadsheet, but we also have a list that says there's 20
No,
projects.
but
in
last
DPW.
year we had a summary
Right,
tab
right,
of the spreadsheet, and then each department had a tab after that.
right.
And I think we may break down DPW because she's got buildings.
Right,
I kind of
yeah,
Yeah,
think of roads and utilities,
vehicles,
where she's got some buildings and
vehicles.
other stuff. So she might have a few tabs.
yeah, no, I'm thinking of
But the-
two stages of a document. One is the much more in-depth, and the first one is a running list, so that we should, just so we have it, that we know
Well,
what
the
we're talking
running
about.
list can be extracted from
Right,
You could set that up easy.
yeah.
yeah, I think that
be
would,
an easy
I think that
extraction.
gives us a quick talking point for turnaround things, turning point for talking about things.
Yeah, but I still want to push back a little bit on the 5 years. So if
Okay.
we're doing 5 years, where are we getting the data from? And I know we don't have the money for it, we're not planning for the money for it, but we're supposedly looking at it. We're just trying to get everybody to start looking at it a little bit more in detail. So are we we're gonna have to make a decision this year because we're not gonna be as advanced as we thought we might get to. In like years 3, 4, and 5, are we just gonna take them by priority and say, okay, the high priority, which got recommended, or subset of high priority gets recommended to the board.
Yeah.
And then the mediums are years 2 and 3, and the low priority are years 3 to 5. I mean, is that how we see this? Unless the departments themselves are doing that looking, who's doing the looking? That's where I was caught on this.
I got the feeling that we were always talking about the departments giving us what their priorities were, whether we
For all
accept them.
5 years.
Yeah, but whatever, we can then just, as a group, decide if that is consistent with what we want, or not what we want, but what we feel. But we said when we were gonna submit these plans each year, that it was gonna be to get the priorities from the departments, but that wasn't the end of all. Their priorities are based on their department needs, not the townwide needs. We have to fit it into the construct of the townwide needs and the department needs. So we have two things.
And that's all part of the one-on-one conversation.
That's right, that's
that we have
That's right.
with the Erics and the Lindas and the chiefs and
Yep.
whatnot. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's.
And they don't have to, year 4, they don't have to prioritize 1, 2, 3, but just low, medium, high.
And the way that I look at this, short versus long-term is,
But is it part of the planning process to be like, okay, we have $18 million on the whole thing?
Right.
What does that really mean? Was it,
Yep.
in a dream world, was that gonna be a 1-year plan? Or was that really a 3 to 5 year plan?
that was an overview of everything, right?
Or was it an overview of everything?
Yeah.
Without really thinking about it? So let's say financing aside, and let's say budgeting and how it gets funded was aside, how much does this community need to spend on capital planning every year? I think that's what people are trying to get to.
Not how much money it has, but how much we need to spend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm saying need, not want. I'm
Right.
saying need.
Yeah.
Because that's,
And I think-
that flavor.
And I think
That
that's
flavor adds.
gonna be the value of the process of having people come before us, is we're gonna learn more and more about what they see as priorities and how we can fit together the top 5 priorities of DPW with the schools, with whatever.
Well, I think that's why we also ask for projects that aren't being funded.
Right.
They're either being funded through operations or whatever, just to fill out a form with us saying it's not going on the request. It's not gonna be
Yep.
funded through the capital procedure, but we wanted to have it so that when a summary report is done, that people can look globally at how much money is being spent on
Right.
capital in Belchertown. That's what I thought.
And it's gonna be
What I'd like
really
to know
clear.
What you're doing, by the way, and I'm really hearing this, is you're going to the experts, rather than deciding you're the experts, you're going to the experts and saying, okay, what are the highest priority needs?
Yeah.
Which is the right way, just for me, it's the right way to go about it. The second thing is, the stuff around the form, just so you know, we went through the same thing. When we were doing Steve's goals with Steve, we switched from a form that was currently being used to a spreadsheet. And what's really heartening is some of the same questions and like, how do we do this? And that was the same thing we were struggling with on the board. So just if it's reassuring,
Yeah.
you're doing the same thing we did.
I think, and that's what I meant by this is like, this is the first meeting that we're having where it's not what's back there, it's what we gotta do to kind of get this organized for this year. And for now, we organize without worrying about monies. The money worries come at the other end, not for us, but for the other boards as to how we can move this forward.
Just a quick question on the form, the October 6th. Did you communicate to like the police chief or the enterprise funding, that even though you're gonna do this project and it's gonna be funded X capital budget, just from a transparency standpoint, we need to have a list, we need to know that these capital projects are going on. Whether it's funded 100% by a grant, or by operating budget, or by enterprise funds, these are capital projects that are more than 20,000 and greater than 5-year life. And they'll be listed even though they're not part of the prioritization.
So like other work.
But they're, yeah, it's kind of the other, just from a communication and transparency standpoint. That's our desire.
Yeah, because those items wouldn't be on.
Right.
Unless they were taken off from the capital list, they wouldn't have been on there to start with. Sometimes, yeah.
So, and, you know, the police cruisers as an example, if they are in fact more than a 5-year life, and more than 20,000, yeah, I realize.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, okay.
but the idea is,
I mean, if this committee wants, you know, if you want to establish a threshold for capital projects that you want to be notified of, just for tracking purposes, that's fine. You know, if it's 5 years and 20,000 or whatever. That's,
well, and,
I think that's what was in the charge.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Document is called, and we just thought for,
communication,
I think
transparency.
if financially somebody in 3 years finds it more beneficial to not lease vehicles, but to purchase, because there's some
That's
program available out there. How do they globally know how much is being spent on vehicles to know if it's worthwhile to,
Yeah.
or if someone wants to bond a bunch of projects and we're gonna finance it differently, we're not suggesting they do that. We're gonna give them the background information that they would be able to analyze to say that there may be a better way or a different way to go ahead.
And from your perspective as town manager, that gives you a,
Greater latitude.
yeah, more latitude, a good cushion to figure things out, as opposed to every decision coming by your desk, you have to make the final call on kind of thing, so.
yeah, we can work on that.
Could you please, thank you.
I have a question. If a capital project is already funded, but, you know, maybe the state decides to claw back some money, could that jump on your list as well? Or if there's more than one funding source, but they can't, you know, they can't do the project because they're, I don't know, 50,000 short. Would that also be considered as?
Yeah, if it's a capital
That's
project,
right.
we're not really involved in the funding portion, but we've asked them to include that. And we've also asked them to break down, and it's mostly Linda and the school department, to break down projects. Let's say they have to do the design and then put it out to bid. So in year one, they might have the design for $75,000 for an architect or engineer to do something. And then in year two, they might have a $300 million, whatever, project to go ahead and do the construction portion of it.
Okay, that's good.
And some of it could be a lot of stuff that's matching grants now and this stuff that comes short, so.
Absolutely,
Yeah, that would certainly move a project up. So
yeah.
the revised form has a spot on there for other funding sources. And if there's grant money and they need to push it over the top of capital money, then that's a factor
Right.
in your.
That's great.
Right.
Because we don't want to leave money on the table.
No,
Well,
and,
we want people to be thinking that that's available to.
That's
and
great.
it's not ours to decide where the money comes from, it's to move the projects, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the floor for a second. I'm worried about October 6th, right? When's our next meeting? October
15.
So I'll get all the forms to you on the 7th, hopefully.
But then we're talking about the master form that those forms get put into being given at least to the major departments to fill in themselves. Is that what we're talking
Well,
about?
that's step 2, which comes after these forms. So the year 1 form, as they come in, if somebody gets it to me, first of all, I don't know what.
He said he sent you the form.
No, he's got the form.
I don't have the Excel.
Oh, you're saying the master sheet.
I don't
Let's
have
just
mine.
call it the master.
Oh, that I can
Because
get for
we're
you as
doing
well.
one.
Yeah, I can get that for you.
Whether you call it year one, it's just gonna have multiple tabs in it, so year one is gonna be on the top, and then year two, and year three, and year
Send me
four.
how you want it.
Yeah.
That's what I was getting to, we don't have it slightly revised for circulation yet.
So as soon as you get it to me.
Okay,
I was talking
okay.
to our working folks here on if we're gonna get that
Okay.
done and out
You know what I
before
like
the
about
15th.
this meeting?
You don't have to do it.
They have gone from topic 1 to 5 to 3 to 4 to 6.
I know, but I'm
to
actually
1.
following.
I know.
Which is cool.
I think they like
The
us,
part
but I'm
where
not
you're doing
sure.
the minutes, though.
I'm actually your liaison.
Yeah, yeah.
I was assuming that, but we were gonna declare that officially
How
at some
often
point.
do you meet? Once a month?
Once a month.
So your meeting is,
Third Wednesday
Okay.
at 4 PM.
okay, thank you.
So you'll have I'll have a couple of weeks to get the data organized for you.
And I can honestly say that I'm not in the same work position I was over the summer in terms of being inundated with work at work. So I can pay a little more attention here to this.
Well, the question is, do we meet before the 15th
Yeah,
to get the form together so we can ask Linda and Eric in particular and Steve to be at that meeting, so we show it to them, so then they can go fill it out, while we also have some general discussion about the forms that they've already come up with? Or do we need to rush to get it done now and send it to them so they can fill out as much as they can
and
Now,
prior to meeting on the 15th?
are we talking years 2 through 5 or year 1?
I'm talking about
all
October
the form.
6th.
why are we doing them separate? Like, I'm assuming,
Can we clarify language here?
Yes.
Terminology. So form is this.
Yeah.
the project, that's a
October
project, that's an expense.
That's a
form,
request.
that's a
This is a
capital
request.
planning request form.
Yes.
Separate from that,
It's
we've
the
got
master
the,
list.
The summary,
That-
master, what do you
Okay,
want?
sorry.
I want to call it the 2 through 5 spreadsheet.
It's 1 through 5.
Yeah.
All right, so 1 through 5.
See how I get
spreadsheet.
entertained by these guys?
The spreadsheet versus the form,
Right.
So let's just
two
call,
different things.
let's call the capital planning request form, the capital planning request form. And let's call the master list, the
Spreadsheet.
the master list is the master list.
So,
Just to have two different
Because
documents.
that's what we did last year, and then Brian just called out pieces of that for presentation purposes and to make a 1-year plan, all for the final
It's the capital
report.
planning master list and it
But
is
the
the,
big nugget was the spreadsheet.
So,
And it had all
so
that.
I was gonna make a suggestion, I was gonna make a motion that we assign Eric to take Brian's spreadsheet, make modifications that he thinks are appropriate, and then, submit them to the chair.
Well, I would be happy to do that.
except,
I no longer have Excel. So I'm using Google
But-
Sheets, which doesn't have tabs, it's really a pain in the neck. I'd be happy to sit somewhere for an hour or two and go do that. That was my other question. Can I come over to the town manager's office and find a room someday and a computer that?
I'd have to check my laptop or
No, how about like using this one
something. I don't know if we have Excel.
during the day for 2 hours?
Just we can find out.
Does anybody know who's the resource? Is there someone? What are there, is it Melissa and Abby? Is Abby the new one?
Yeah,
What's
we
the-
can work that out.
how about,
Or I could mark it up and send it to you and you could just do it.
how about,
That's a detail. We'll
I
get
think-
you, we'll get you.
the two of us could sit down and talk without affecting the committee. We can talk to get that through.
Yeah, I mean, if we just want to meet in a room somewhere.
That's what we did with the goal.
I think that's what we have to do.
Okay.
Because you and I have the knowledge of this stuff to make it work and we can.
Well, I just want to look at the request form because we added some information and changed a little bit of the nomenclature. And I just want to make sure it all jives.
He's taken off for a
So it's
month
just
anyway. So.
easier. Is it a month?
I like the month, that sounds better.
Okay, so I think that this idea of you and I sitting down together to pull this together was inevitable anyway, so let's make this happen.
In our group, Nicole Miner actually did the Excel spreadsheet by herself, but we had talked it through, her and I as the
Yeah.
chair. So, but we all saw it at the
But
same.
we have what he first did and we have what Brian did, and somewhere amidst all that, we can come up with something that's gonna work in our favor.
Well, Brian's is the more accurate one.
Yeah,
I have 5 minutes because I gotta.
Yeah.
5 minutes is,
So the reason why I want to focus on the forms first is
Yeah.
because the departments heads have a limited amount of time.
and I got you the right version that you can send around.
Yes.
Yeah,
That went out today.
Good.
So as soon as they're done with that, I will have them.
Yep.
Start looking.
And I now have a Excel version of it that's not in Google Sheets, so.
But yes, you can look at everything all together. I just don't know if you're gonna have it all for your meeting in October.
All right, so that brings up the second question, which is, we have a meeting 17th and then the 15th of October. October 6th is the return date for the forms to you.
And these are the forms of the ones that need to go into prioritization for FY '27, which to me says the ones that are currently capital projects, but X our budgeting system, whether they're paid by the operating budget or enterprise funds or whatever, really don't have to nail that deadline per se.
Those don't have to.
Correct.
I don't,
And in fact, they shouldn't, so that they have more time to think it through. But I do think it's a good idea that you set a date.
Oh, yeah,
January 1st.
I'm
So wait,
trying to give
are
some
you-
guidance to
We should
Steve.
set it,
I mean, in some year.
Yeah.
This thing should be one process,
that's what I'm saying.
and it should be earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we're like,
but if the request form, again, and if the request form is the same request form, we're not gonna
Right.
change it for a couple
But
more
we
years.
have the,
We have a master list that's the same list. It goes out, they give us all the data. Like, why are we breaking this down into nuggets of years? Because what happens if we say, we don't think this is, last year we said, we don't think some of these are high priority, or they shouldn't be projects whatsoever, was the screener that Linda had, that she was leasing, or we're saying
Yeah.
she should continue with the lease, that
Right.
rental is much cheaper than, just through the evolution of the discussions.
I'm
So.
with you.
I
Yeah.
just think, and to have them go back, I mean, I know they need the time.
You can, but you're not gonna have it for October. So
Right.
that's the.
So-
You are late with your form. The revised form should have
So
been.
it's your fault.
No, it's fine.
You stole two of our members.
So it's all good. So I just want to give you as much time to start working on this as you can.
So-
You're not gonna have enough time to do it all anyway.
Oh, I know.
So let's just,
Let's just start the
Yeah.
train rolling.
I'm just trying to
Yeah,
give
yeah,
you
yeah, no, Steve, I'm not
prioritization,
suggesting that we're gonna come up with some magic thing and then throw it back at you and then meet in 3 months and it's argued.
yeah, so you'll have the data, you can put it all into one report, one, spreadsheet, but you're not gonna have it all for your October meeting.
So now Mike is going away for 2 months.
No, I don't think we will. So,
I think we're gonna make good
Mr.
headway
Chairman,
by
back to you.
Yeah.
If you and I meet,
Yeah.
fix the form.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna make the recommendation, the spreadsheets.
Yes, I know what he's talking
The
about. I'm with him.
Then you're gonna make the recommendation, I think you were headed to, that on the 15th of October, we ask the department chairs to come here so that we can discuss the form and preliminary go through the number of projects.
Yeah.
And then maybe focus on some year one, more information, but then talk to them about filling out the rest of the spreadsheets and getting their assistance and
Yes.
putting all their projects in there.
Yes.
And then making
That'll
a
be the-
more workable schedule
Yes,
so that by January, we're back, well, we're
We're
gonna
on track.
continue working,
oh, we're on track.
but we've got
Yes.
a congealed amount
That's
of
it.
This is
information.
gonna be a year one problem. What you're doing right now is.
But we had year one last year.
No, this is only gonna be a year 1 problem this year, because every other year we won't have to make up
That's-
years 2 through 5.
No, but that's what we said last year.
This will be our annual year one problem. When you say department heads on October 15th,
Are the two primary.
okay, I want to be clear here, and that goes back to,
We'll see what comes in.
yeah, okay,
Because I think last year you spent the whole meeting talking to Linda, the whole meeting talking to Eric.
Yes.
yes.
And,
But the bottom line is, by January, you'll have one document. I
Yeah.
firmly believe that.
we're gonna have
Yeah,
we're
we're
gonna
gonna
get,
work with them to do that. I was just
Yeah.
suggesting they come and maybe we go through it and give them spreadsheets and then we turn around and say, let's do Eric in November and let's have Linda come back in December based on the quantity of projects they have to go through it in a whole lot more detail.
Always
so
have a special meeting.
that's what I was gonna say. If we called a meeting in 2 weeks to just inform everybody, would that be helpful?
We can't. because
You
we won't
can't,
have a
you
quorum.
won't have a quorum.
Oh,
Yeah, you're short-handed. So I do have to go close up the office because I have a 6 o'clock meeting here. So I did give you a
Okay.
spreadsheet.
Yep.
Not
Yeah.
form, a spreadsheet.
You gave us the intro. I'm calling this the intro.
I think this was your item number 3.
Yeah.
Anyhow, So this is an update on FY '26 capital.
Yeah.
The full amount there, 979,415, which includes 500,000 from the override plus
Right.
what we used in free cash. So I don't think, you're all intelligent. I don't think I need to sit here and read this to you. I will update it again.
Any super surprises of, the price doubled when we blinked our eyes kind of thing?
Everything's
I mean,
good.
we're still in good shape financially, or consistent. We're not in good shape, but we're
Everything-
still consistent with what we thought.
Yep, everything's been perfect. Tomorrow, they'll be here to put the air conditioning on the roof of this building. But some items are complete, some are still in planning, some are going to procurement. So
Excellent.
we're in good shape. So I gotta run.
Go.
Okay,
So
thank you, Steve.
You're good in here till 6.
Well, we're not gonna be here until 6.
Don't forget to shut the meeting down.
Yep.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve.
Touch base, I feel like we're.
Oh, I know. Are you over here, Ty?
I think
Well, actually, I think, looking at the agenda,
we're in good shape.
we're in,
Yeah, you just about hit everything in one.
Yeah, we just kind of wandered our way through it.
It was like a run-on sentence.
What time of day would you like to meet, sir?
Depends the day of the week.
All right, we'll figure it
No,
out.
it does. If evenings are better for you, or late afternoon, or evenings are better for you.
Either morning or evening, depending on when I'm coming in and out of town, just so I can kind of say, if I'm gonna work remote that day or whatever, that kind of stuff, so. I can make that work.
I work Tuesdays and Thursday mornings.
Tuesdays and Thursday mornings?
So Monday, Wednesday
So you're-
mornings are good,
Okay.
and then nights are a little bit more challenging.
What about this time, like 4 to 6?
That's good.
Okay.
That's a good time.
All right, I'll look at my calendar. That'll help. Because I think we just gotta get over this hurdle once and for all and just get that piece done and we'll be in a good place. 'Cause
Yeah.
I open it up, look at it and go, oh my God, what are we gonna do with this thing? And we gotta get past that, so.
And I understand the burden on the department heads that this extra work does, but at some point, we'd like it to be in the natural course of a year
Right.
for them to be thinking about planning and adding the projects, and I don't think
Can we
1 year is
have-
a separate thing.
Can we legitimately have an informal meeting with the department heads? Or no, just,
I just think we should do it on the 15th, because the first meeting, when they have all the projects on there, they've forgotten some things.
all right, so we'll make that work.
Remember last year too, like the
Yeah,
numbers
that's fine,
were
yeah.
a lot different, some didn't realize.
Yeah,
It took 2 or 3 months to get the information put together well.
that's fine.
I think we'll be okay. I think the big thing is I'd like to get a strong enough base spreadsheet.
Yes,
What we do for putting in summary reports and all that stuff, we can do on our own time, but sort of a basic thing that they can fill out and that we can use for analysis.
and I think the advantage of
We're
having,
90% there too.
yes,
I think it's just changing some stuff though, coming from the changes we made to the form.
right, and I think you just hit on something which is really good, that somebody within Steve's office has to have some sense of how to work with this thing, because we're not gonna be the same committee forever, and it's good to have continuity in terms of who understands what, so.
Well, that's my question back to the portal.
Yeah.
Is there some, even if we can't share Google Docs, can we go put them in can somebody take the
Dropbox
document
or whatever.
out and then drop it back in, and
Right,
then there's some sort of town procedure to know that
Right.
that's what's public information and what's not public.
and we can find out.
It's
how
also public information, but is it completed?
Right,
If we're in process.
is it ready
how
for
you guys
posting?
deal with that? On paper?
What?
How the committees deal with that? They just do it on paper or just?
When we did the goals, it took us, we didn't actually give him the goals until August. They're supposed to be in July, at the beginning of July. And everything was publicized. So we did it, it was very long, very arduous, but we now have a new form. We have goals that are set, ongoing, what's already been completed. So we were very much in the same boat in terms of switching from an old way of doing it to a new way of doing it, and not losing what prior boards had said and what's still ongoing.
right,
So, but, I also feel like, and you are too, actually, the select board is really under scrutiny, so we want everything to be out in the open. I feel like that's gonna be the same for you.
we don't own the money, we're just looking at it.
You know, there's
Um,
plenty of blame to go around. That's
No, I'm
the
saying,
thing.
that's about primary, we recognize from that from day one.
Well, it's just as hard because you also don't like differentiate. You know, like I'm chairman of the agricultural commission.
Right.
And we have a yearly event. And like, we're putting together a document that says who's bringing donuts, who's bringing stuff. Well, I know I'm not gonna get sued under the open meeting law if I send a reply off. So I just do it. But a lot of people just don't think through that if you have common sense, you can stay out of trouble and stay out of perception. You know,
It
if
is.
we were saying it was sponsored by Tom Shattuck, he's on the committee and he owns Shattuck, you know, then you don't, you gotta have to understand, have that understanding.
Right, but you know what, it's a good habit to, it just is a good habit. Look, I got knocked for open meeting when I first joined the board. I mean, it does
Right.
happen, and
Yeah.
it was not intentional.
Can we just make sure I can see the new form
So,
and
yeah,
that we both are looking at Brian's latest?
yes,
Because I was just looking through email and I found a PDF, but I didn't find the Excel spreadsheet.
all right. It's gonna be much easier for me to do this at home than it is here.
No, I didn't get one at
Okay,
this
so-
second. I was saying,
so
those are the two
you're
things I'd
asking-
like before we meet,
You're
Mr. Chair.
asking the chair.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
For
Brian's
The
spreadsheet
latest
and the
request
latest
form and last year's master
the
spreadsheet.
form that is coming back October 6th.
Yes,
Yes,
Okay. How are you gonna get that to us?
he's gonna email it to us,
As a PDF file?
I'm gonna email it either as a PDF or as a Word doc,
Okay.
or an Excel, if it's in Excel,
or I mean, as an Excel doc, one or the other.
yeah, anything. I can convert everything. I just,
Because I didn't have access to the,
no, because he made a Google Drive, but he
Right.
didn't give us access to
Yeah,
the
no, my
Google Drive,
mistake.
so-
I
Yeah, that's
just
fine.
wanna
My
make sure,
mistake, yeah.
I just wanna make sure we're gonna get it as an
But
attachment.
then I wanna make sure I'm looking at the same master file you're looking at.
Exactly. So I'm gonna-
Make a few notes on that.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, I'm with you all the way. Cause I thought of that like a week ago, like I don't want different versions. I don't want to have people looking at different things. We gotta all have the same info.
Well, that would be the nice thing about having some sort of server portal access.
I think Dropbox is gonna eventually be the answer.
Yeah, some system like that.
Yeah.
That could happen, because then we would all know we're working with the most recent.
And just everything else aside, this is something that, the Commonwealth and all the communities are grappling with. We're not alone in grappling with this. This is like statewide in terms of how you manage in this electronic environment when you used to just have a couple people work on a document. Now they're doing it electronically. Is that conversing? Is that not conversing? Are you deciding things for the committee, outside the committee, all those things, so.
Well, they do consider conversing.
I know they do, and it makes it
Well, I don't
complicated,
think
because all you're doing
until
is.
it's voted on and approved, I would not.
So,
So I'm looking at the agenda. We've called the meeting to order. We've approved the minutes. We've reviewed the current status of the FY '26. Reviewed the submission form for capital. I think we're good in that shape. It's gonna be back
Yeah.
October 6th. You're gonna send
I
out.
might actually have a physical
I'm
copy in the
going
car.
to now item 5, which is discuss the 5-year planning format. He's gonna send you
Yes.
the correct Brian Gibbons version for you to start
We're
working
gonna call it
on.
the Gibbons list.
Do we need to discuss that any further?
I don't think so, not until we have a look at it.
Okay, confirm next meeting. I'm looking at the agenda.
Yeah, you're doing
Trying
good.
to move you along.
Next meeting is October 6th.
No,
I know,
October 15th.
October 15th, and we're going to invite both Eric and Linda?
Yes,
I think that would be a good idea.
Yes.
Okay.
and in between, we're gonna get together to digest these master
The
spreadsheets.
chair and vice chair are going to get together to revise and finalize.
Revise the format.
The master spreadsheet format
The
for,
capital planning master
Okay.
spreadsheet.
And you're gonna bring that back on the 15th for
Yep,
discussion. Anything else we need to do on this meeting today?
I don't think so. I had a feeling it was gonna go a lot like it did, so. I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn the meeting. Is there anything else we need to discuss before that motion gets seconded?
it was just getting more members, but
Yes.
we talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. I would make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
I knew-
4:59.
I knew you wanted the most to adjourn.
Thank you for the work you're doing.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Time to revamp.
Put me on your list for any
Yes,
meetings.
absolutely.
So that,
Okay.
I can support you, and if there's
Yes, sir.
anything that you want, brought before the select board, let me know. Yeah, we do that.
Let's end the meeting,
Oh, we're still
right?
Because we've gone to meeting, we haven't voted.
We didn't,
Now, it says leave, but.
yeah, it's gonna, if you hit leave, it's gonna say end for everybody or end for just you.
Oh, that's where the,
End session for all, go up.
okay,